like, if you know the story of Cooper's Last of the Mohicans, it feels like that. Even though the agency has this kind of the dual mission really is, one is to promote and regulate anything Congress says is a park unit, and it assigns its administration to the NPS. The other thing, and I have to sometimes point this out, I've had superintendents tell me I was wrong, but I said, well, it's right there in the law. It's that we're the lead agency in history and historic preservation in the federal government, which means we manage the National Register of Historic Places. Now, in a natural area, in an old park, that's often not some people don't get that. So I can back off, and you learn that sort of thing about when you can make your point and when you can't. I did enjoy, though, my start in the Forest Service, because one of the things I got really interested in beyond wilderness, which was a master's topic, was that I noticed how things work. There's a social system. It's usually around rewards. They get formulated very early in an agency's start in life. It's pretty much the things are settled kind of almost on the day of their birth, and so there's incentives, there's agency biases that are formed very early around things that sometimes historically no longer exist. Like, for instance, in the Forest Service, when it was created in 1905, there was a great fear of a wood famine, and the thought being that civilization would come to an end if they'd seen these great increases in consumption of wood products. So the Forest Service was there to help regulate this, and so when private timberlands were finished, that federal lands could begin to fill that gap, but in a sustainable way. But of course, and we can get into politics later, of course, but and the Park Service had a different beginning, and I've always said, and I think nobody said I've been wrong about this, that without the automobile, there would be no National Park Service. There could be parks, but many countries manage them as part of their forestry organizations. And indeed, there's lots of similarities. We share the same Code of Federal Regulations, which is 36, Parks and Forests, and many of the rules are the same. And of course, that's often the case in other agencies. The big four of the land agencies, the other two are the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Bureau of Land Management. So, and if you're interested, I've got some interesting stories to tell about Cascade Siskiyou National Monument, which is a kind of a strange result from something. Before I was a Fed, I was actually on the Soda Mountain Wilderness Council, and the whole deal was we couldn't get wilderness. And so somebody came up with this idea of, well, why don't we have a monument? Nobody knows really what that is, so, and an idea was born. So it's a strange way to get wilderness. And some people, we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, there's a lot of people in Ashland who are very leery about the NPS, and so they're used to fighting with BLM, so fine.
Well, let me ask you why that is.